My family was too strapped for cash for my birthday while my sister enjoyed an extravagant celebration. But when a college recognized my achievements, they suddenly came rushing back. I'm William Carter, the eldest sibling, a 24-year-old certified welder, the first in my family to complete a trade program. You'd expect that would earn a nod or a warm family hug. Not at all. When I passed my certification test, my mother sent me a text. "That's nice, honey. Let us know if you need a new lunch pail." Smiley emoji. They still saw me as the kid who forgot to RSVP for his own prom, not the man who could craft a structural beam in under half a minute. My sister Lily, 2 years my junior, 4 shades fairer, and brimming with the kind of academic sparkle my parents inhaled like second-hand vapor, got all the praise. Growing up, she had a whole shelf of ribbons for just showing up, while I had a drawer stuffed with receipts from part-time jobs, groceries, fuel, and work boots. She took ballet lessons. By 15, I was wielding a mop, cleaning cars at Smiley's Wash on Sundays. It wasn't envy. It was a slow wearing away, one overlooked moment at a time. When my 18th birthday came, my mother declared, "No gifts this year, money's tight." Yet 2 months later, Lily's sweet 16 boasted a chocolate fountain and an inflatable castle. A bounce house. I didn't tell them when I earned my welding certification at 16 after 3 years of evening classes and double shifts. I just bought a burger and fries, sat in the work van, and let the quiet be enough. At least Ratchet, my rescued mutt, wagged his tail like I'd hit the jackpot. So when Lily's college graduation came around, I didn't expect much. Not even a small gesture. What I saw was a full-blown spectacle with catering. Dylan, our cousin with a backward cap and a podcast nobody tunes into, posted a slideshow on Instagram. The captions read like a press statement. "Lily did it, so proud of our star graduate." There they all were. Mom, Dad, Aunt Linda, Uncle Peter, even Great-Aunt Ruth, who hadn't stirred since 2014. They clinked glasses in the backyard, sporting matching shirts, personalized napkins, and a cake taller than my fridge. I scrolled, blinked, and waited. Mom finally texted, "We'll celebrate you later, Will, proud of you." No call. Just the usual later that never arrives. I stared at my cracked phone screen, alone in my studio above a hardware shop. Ratchet snoozed beside me like a gremlin in a dog bed. The spaghetti I'd microwaved went cold. I didn't want fanfare or cake. I wanted to be noticed. The next morning, I pulled on my oil-stained boots, scarfed a breakfast burrito, and headed to work. We were down a crew member, so I worked a full shift on an industrial pipe job, welding through heat and metal fumes. It was grueling but logical. Unlike family, 3 weeks passed. No word, no follow-up, not even a "how's work" from anyone. It was like I'd become allergic to family chats. Then Dylan showed up at my job site unannounced. No text, no call, just rolled up in his beat-up Toyota, sunglasses on like he was shooting a film. I was loading steel rods into the truck bed when he strolled over and said, "Dude, you won't believe who I just talked to." I wiped sweat from my forehead and gave him the look I reserve for faulty welders. "This better not be about his podcast." He grinned. "Nope, it's about you." And that's when it all started. I squinted at Dylan like the sun itself was shady. "Someone asked you to talk to me?" "Well, technically, they asked if you'd be available," Dylan said, raising an eyebrow like it mattered. "But yeah." I crossed my arms and leaned against the truck. My shirt was half soaked with sweat. Ratchet, who I sometimes bring to work, looked up from the shade under the trailer as if he too was ready for a letdown. "All right, spill it. Am I being recruited or abducted?" Dylan's grin was too eager for a simple message. "So this guy I know, Victor," he said. "He's on the board of the technical college downtown. They're launching this trades campaign, Build the Future or something, and they want real grads who have hustled. Not some suit pretending to know what a rivet gun is." I blinked. "And you gave them my name?" "Well, I showed them your Instagram clip, the one where you fixed that busted water line in the rain. You looked like a welding legend." "That wasn't rain," I muttered. "It was a burst pipe and I had bronchitis for a week after." "Exactly, real grit." "They loved it. They want to meet you, said your story's the real deal. They're done showcasing desk jockeys with blueprints. They want the guy who actually does the work." I stared at him, then glanced over my shoulder, half expecting another William to be standing there, one who mattered more. "Wait," I said, voice dry. "They're offering me exposure, right? Maybe a free pizza." Dylan laughed. "Nah, man, there's a stipend, like $2,000. Plus, they'll put you in all the college's ads, posters, online, maybe a billboard if they get the funds." I looked down at my grimy boots. Tools clanked behind me as the crew loaded up. The idea felt ridiculous. Me, the afterthought at every family dinner, being asked to represent something. "What's the catch?" I asked, half laughing, half serious. No catch, they just want to meet you, see if you're cool with being on camera. You tell your story, maybe do some welding shots, show people not every success story wears a suit. I didn't answer right away. Instead, I grabbed my thermos, took a swig of tepid coffee, and thought about my graduation. Me alone in a half-empty auditorium, clutching my certificate. No one cheered my name, and now strangers wanted me on a billboard. I cleared my throat. Fine, I said. I'll do the meeting. But if this is a scam to sell toolkits to old ladies, I'll weld your car door shut. Dylan grinned like he'd pulled off a heist. Deal, this is gonna be huge. The meeting was 2 days later at the college's main campus. I'd never been there. My welding program was across town in a repurposed warehouse that reeked of rust, sweat, and triumph. This place had coffee machines and ferns. Dylan convinced me not to wear my work boots. I wore slacks and my best polo, which still had a faint bleach stain on the sleeve. I walked into that meeting room feeling like a laborer at a country club, but they welcomed me like I was the keynote speaker. The campaign coordinator, Naomi, asked thoughtful questions. Victor, the board member, already knew half my story from Dylan. They asked about my shifts, my training, what I wished people understood about trade work, and I didn't hold back. I told them about late nights, choosing tools over textbooks, and watching my sister get standing ovations for awards I didn't even know existed while I fixed leaky pipes in a basement that smelled like mold and regret. They listened. When I was done, Naomi smiled and said, "We'd be honored to feature you." That night, I sat in my apartment with Ratchet curled up beside me. I stared at the email they sent, outlining the campaign timeline. One line stood out. "We'll unveil the campaign at the summer commencement ceremony." My stomach twisted. Summer commencement. The same one my cousin Dylan was attending. My family would be there cheering for someone else. But this time, it wasn't about them. It was about me. I almost bilayed on the first day of filming. I showed up with grease still under my nails. Naomi said it was perfect authenticity, holding a clipboard as the cameraman set up near a pile of steel beams. They filmed me welding, sweating, grinding through sparks, and talking about things I'd never said out loud. Like how I used to sneak into the house after 3 a.m. in high school, working janitorial shifts, stepping over creaky floorboards to avoid waking anyone. Or how my dad once told a family dinner I was taking a gap year, when I was actually working 60-hour weeks hauling lumber on a construction site. The crew didn't interrupt, no fake tears, just nodded and listened. Naomi had me do a sit-down interview. No rehearsal, no script, just questions like, "What kept you going? And what do you wish people knew about this path?" I answered honestly. I wanted to be useful even if no one cheered. It mattered. The camera didn't flinch, and neither did Naomi. Then came the question that caught me off guard. "Does your family know you're part of this campaign?" I swallowed hard. "Not really," I said. "They know I work, but not that I'm proud of it." She smiled softly and jotted something down. "They will." Over the next week, they filmed more of my workshop, the worn boots by my door, Ratchet wagging his tail like a furry mascot. They even caught a time-lapse of me building a custom metal railing from scratch. It felt less like a production and more like a strange kind of therapy, as if I'd been whispered in fine print my whole life and was now being written in all caps. But I didn't tell anyone, not Mom, not Dad, not Lily, especially not Lily. I didn't hide it out of malice, not exactly. I just didn't want them to diminish it, which they would. If I said I was being featured at a commencement, they'd probably think, "Oh, nice for a trade thing." If I mentioned a billboard, they'd say, "Really? You're not kidding." So I kept quiet. Let them celebrate Dylan's graduation like it was another family crowning. Let them pose in their pastel outfits and post captions about legacy and future stars. Meanwhile, I kept working, taking Naomi's calls, approving headshots, reviewing quotes, and watching my name evolve from an email subject to a flyer mock-up to a full banner design. Naomi called one afternoon to confirm final details. "We'll debut the Build the Future campaign at the start of the commencement ceremony. Your face will be on the main screen during the intro with your quote." I paused. "What quote?" She laughed. "The one you said, about wanting to be useful even if no one clapped. It hit hard in editing, you'll see." The night before the ceremony, Mom sent a group text. "Excited for Dylan's big day tomorrow. Everyone remember to wear blue," smiley emoji. I stared at it. Blue, the color I wore when I moved out, when I skipped my own graduation and ate drive-through tacos in a parking lot. I thought about replying, "See you there," but I didn't. Not yet. I just smiled, turned off my phone, laid out my cleanest slacks, polished my boots, and printed the email Naomi sent with my official badge and parking pass. This time I wasn't sneaking in. This time I was invited. The morning of the event, I arrived early. Too early. The auditorium lobby smelled of budget cologne and fresh diploma folders. Staff were still taping signs to folding tables, sorting name tags and testing mics. Naomi waved me over, handed me a badge with my name on it. Just my name. Not Lily's brother, not +1, just William Carter in bold. Ready, she asked. Born ready, I said, then panicked and added, I mean sure. She laughed and handed me a small envelope. After your feature plays, we'll bring you backstage. The dean wants to say a quick thank you. They're adding your quote to the college website. I froze. What, like forever? Yep, she said, with your face next to it. I slipped the envelope into my jacket pocket like it was fragile. Around 9:45 a.m., people started arriving, parents in their Sunday best, friends with bouquets. Every fourth person held balloons. I spotted them. My family. Mom in her usual understated church chic dress, pearls and all. Dad in a blazer I hadn't seen since his failed HOA run. And Lily, hair perfectly curled, clutching an iced latte like it was part of her arm. They didn't see me. Not that they were looking. They took seats near the front, 2 rows behind the graduates. Dylan stood nearby, snapping selfies like he was headlining a festival. He pointed at the Welcome Graduates banner and said something that made Lily laugh so hard she tipped her cup. I just watched. And maybe for a split second I felt that familiar knot in my stomach. The one that whispered, "This isn't your crowd, this isn't your day." The lights dimmed and everything shifted. A spotlight hit the stage. The announcer, a faculty member with a voice made for radio, welcomed everyone to the summer commencement. As we celebrate this year's graduates, we want to highlight the stories that don't always make headlines. The quiet victories, the unsung builders, the hands that shape our world. My back straightened. Today, he continued, we launch our Build the Future campaign, featuring someone who shows us what perseverance looks like, even when no one's watching. The screen flickered, music swelled, and there was my face. Not a selfie. Not a blurry phone pic. A crisp, cinematic shot of me welding in slow motion, sparks flying, eyes hidden behind my mask. My quote beneath, I just wanted to be useful even if no one clapped. The room went quiet. Then more clips, time-lapse of me crafting the railing, fixing a burst pipe in the rain, lifting my welding mask with sweat on my face. It cut to my interview, me talking about night shifts in high school, how trade school wasn't a fallback but the goal. The video ended with the campaign's tagline, Build the future in every way that counts. When the lights came up, there was a pause, then applause. Loud, real, rolling applause. People started turning. A staff member stepped forward and said, William Carter, please stand. I stood, nerves kicking like a mule, but I stood. Dylan's jaw dropped. I saw it from across the room. Dad leaned toward Mom, muttering something with a frown. Lily stared at me like I was a stranger who'd crashed her party. The clapping kept going. Strangers cheered for me. My family just stared. Naomi grinned as I slipped into the backstage hallway. Your family didn't know? Nope, I said. Damn, she whispered, almost proud. That's one hell of a surprise. Backstage smelled of coffee, fresh paper, and nervous sweat. I followed Naomi down a tight hallway packed with event staff. Someone gave me a thumbs up. Another handed me a water bottle with a wink, like I'd won something. I don't think I'd ever gotten that many congratulations in 1 minute. We reached a side room, and the dean, a tall, silver-haired man with a voice like warm gravel, shook my hand like I'd just returned from war. William Carter, he said warmly. It's an honor to meet the face of our future. I wanted to argue, say I was just a welder who got filmed, but I nodded, smiled, and said, Thanks, this means a lot. He handed me a printed campaign poster with my quote and name under the headline. This goes up in the main hall for the fall semester, he said. You've already got students asking about the welding program. I froze. Seriously, he smiled. Your story matters. Don't forget that. 15 minutes later, I slipped back into the lobby. The ceremony was still going, names called in waves, but the hallway was crowded with early leavers, bored siblings, and caffeine-starved parents. Lily stood by the exit like a glitch in reality. Alone, holding a nearly empty latte, staring at a promotional poster on a display board, my poster. When I stopped a few steps away, she didn't look up. Looks better in print, I said. She turned slowly. For a moment, her face stayed composed, that polished, magazine cover calm she always had. Then it softened, a question slipping through. You didn't tell anyone? Nope, she blinked. Why? I shrugged. Figured it was just a trade thing not worth a toast. Lily opened her mouth, then closed it. Her jaw tightened. She glanced at the poster again. I didn't know you were doing stuff like this, she said. The words were honest, not bitter, and that hit harder. I always thought you were like doing fine, she added. I was, but this, I gestured to the poster. You're basically famous now. Yeah, weird, right? She exhaled, not quite a laugh, not quite a sigh. Then, without meeting my eyes, she said, Mom looked like she saw a ghost. I chuckled, quiet, almost guilty. Surprised she didn't say I faked it. We stood there for a moment, not enemies, not quite siblings. Just two people who grew up in the same house, but never shared a story. I didn't mean to make it a thing, I said. You didn't, Lily replied. We did, I nodded. Anyway, she said, it was cool, you looked like you. That was the most genuine compliment she'd ever given me. I didn't know what to do with it, so I just said, thanks. As I started to walk past, I caught movement from the corner of my eye. Mom and Dad were lingering by the vending machines, talking, checking their phones, glancing at the poster like it had personally insulted them. They didn't approach or wave, just stood in their awkward little huddle. And for the first time, their silence didn't make me feel small. I felt steady. They could have walked over, said congratulations, or we're proud, but they didn't. I didn't need them to. I had something better now. Proof. And peace. By the time I got home, my phone was a battlefield of notifications. 38 unread texts, a dozen missed calls, 3 Instagram tags from people I hadn't talked to since high school gym. I expected a few awkward, you cleaned up nice messages. Instead, I opened Naomi's DM first. Videos live, 9.2K views in the first hour, you killed it. I clicked the link. There I was, mask down, welding torch in hand, sparks flashing like fireflies in a storm. The comments weren't just support, they were validation. My brother needed to see this. This is what kids should see more of. He gets it. Real work, real story. I don't even weld and this hit hard. One said, hope his family's proud, which made me laugh out loud. Then came the family group chat chaos. Redart family, 18 members, lit up like a casino. Mom, why didn't William tell us we were so surprised? Dad, just saw it, you looked sharp, didn't expect that polish. Lily, you're basically famous now, lol. Can I say I know you? Then the flood of extended family, reacting like they'd spotted a unicorn in their backyard. Uncle Peter, wait, that's our William in the college video? Aunt Linda, you should have told us, we'd have cheered louder. Cousin Megan, OMG, I cried, my coworkers saw it too. And Mom's grand finale, we're planning a small dinner to celebrate you this weekend, just family, just family. The same crew that skipped my trade school graduation and live-streamed Lily's from a rented party bus. Now they wanted takeout pizza and a side of guilt. Hard pass. I didn't reply. Not yet. Instead, I reposted the official campaign video Naomi tagged me in, with my quote and banner image. No caption, just a hammer and flame emoji. The likes started trickling, then pouring, then flooding. Old classmates I hadn't spoken to in years, some who used to mock my work boots in school, were now dropping fire and muscle emojis. A guy I barely knew DM'd, Bro, showed this to my dad, he said you speak for us. Another wrote, you made welding look honorable. Then my old chemistry teacher, knew you'd go far. Want to speak to my class? I almost replied, you once called me a distraction with a wrench, but I let it go. Growth or something. That night Lily texted me separately. So you doing more of these? I replied, they asked me for a panel next semester. After a pause, she said, that's actually awesome, I think you found your thing. Then, it's wild, we didn't even know. Didn't know, no, they didn't. Because they never asked. They were too busy cheering for caps and gowns to notice the guy in welding gloves working nights. Mom texted again before bed. Don't forget, we're planning Sunday dinner for your big day. Let us know if that works. Funny how strangers' applause reminds people of your name and makes them want to throw dinners. I stared at the message, then muted the chat. I had one more thing to do. I opened the campaign video again, watched my quote play. I just wanted to be useful even if no one clapped. Then I said to no one, turns out they clap eventually. After everyone else does first. I wasn't planning to go to the dinner, but Sunday came and something in me said, let them deal with it, let them see you now. So I went, clean jeans, a black button-up. Nothing fancy, just sharp enough to be unrecognizable from the kid they used to overlook. Ratchet stayed home. Even he didn't deserve that kind of recycled shame. When I pulled into the driveway, I saw a pathetic congratulations William banner over the porch light, clearly reused from Lily's party. Same font, same colors. They just taped over her name. If you squinted, you could see a faint L under the W classic. Inside, the living room smelled of store-bought lasagna and unease. The whole crew was there. Mom, Dad, Lily, Uncle Peter, even Aunt Linda, who hadn't spoken to me since she caught me raiding the garage fridge as a kid. They all smiled like actors who just noticed the director in the front row. Mom hugged me like it was a job interview. "William, look at you." "Yeah," I said. "I know, I cleaned up." Dad patted my back. "Big man on campus, huh?" "Not a campus," I said calmly. "Just a stage, but close." We sat at the table. Paper plates, off-brand soda, a store-bought cake with "You Did It" in red icing like they forgot what it was. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Mom raised her glass, a solo cup of sparkling cider. "To William," she said brightly, "for making us proud. We always knew he had it in him." Everyone smiled, except me. I sipped water and said nothing. Because no, they didn't always know. They didn't cheer when I passed my certification, didn't post photos when I got hired full-time, didn't show up when I graduated trade school with perfect attendance. Strangers shared my video, professors echoed my name, and then they knew. As dinner went on, Linda tried small talk. "So you think you'll be on more billboards?" "No clue," I said. "But I've got 2 crews asking about contract work." "Wow," she said, visibly surprised. Lily leaned in. "That's impressive. So, like, what do you actually do now?" I smiled slowly. "Turns out I can make sparks fly." She rolled her eyes but didn't respond. Near the end of the meal, Dad finally asked the question he'd clearly been holding on to. "So what's next for you, son?" I wiped my mouth, set my fork down, and said, "Got meetings for a local partnership, thinking about opening my own fabrication shop by winter." Dead silence. Mom blinked. "Your own what now?" "Shop," I said. "Business license, client list, custom work, you know, a real job." No one laughed, no one breathed, so I pushed back from the table and stood. "I appreciate the effort," I said, gesturing vaguely at the cake. "But I've got an early morning, welding doesn't wait." I started to leave, but not before looking at Mom. "You know," I said with a smile, "Lily's party had a band. You could have at least hired a guy with a trumpet." I walked out. The look on their faces was worth more than any toast. I didn't hear from the family in the week after that dinner. No follow-ups. No "so proud of you" texts. The group chat had a few awkward emoji reactions and one random photo of Linda's new dog. But that Friday, it happened. I was in the campus lobby, waiting to meet Naomi about the upcoming panel, when Dylan walked in, camera bag over his shoulder, sunglasses on like he was ready for a press junket. We locked eyes. He stopped and, trying to play it cool, said, "Hey man, big week, huh?" "Yeah," I said. "Guess so. You, really surprised people." I winked. "You too. Didn't expect you to be so quiet about it." He laughed nervously and said, "Yeah, well, catch you later." He kept walking. I didn't ask about the panel. Didn't mention the video, but I knew he'd seen it. They all had. Later that night, I got a notification. Cousin Jason, who recorded part of the graduation on his phone, posted a selfie on Instagram. I clicked without thinking. He was standing in front of the college's main hall. Behind him, the new campaign banner, "Build the Future," featuring William Carter, in big letters. And below my name, the quote, "I just wanted to be useful even if no one clapped." In the photo, I'm next to Jason. Not posed, not planned. Just me, standing nearby, hands in my pockets, looking at the banner like I still couldn't believe it was real. But Jason's caption sealed it. Didn't expect to see my name up there. No hashtags, no emojis, just raw, uncomfortable honesty. And that spoke louder than any toast. Within an hour, others started sharing it. Friends, classmates, old teachers, even a couple of clients who sent screenshots asking if I was the guy in the banner. And the best part? I didn't post anything. I didn't explain, didn't clarify, didn't tag or humble brag. I just let them see it. Let them sit with it. Let them realize I didn't need a stage to be proud. I just needed room to build my own. So I did. Quietly, completely, without needing their applause. They can raise their glasses now, but I'd already toasted myself. So, what are your thoughts on this story? Do you agree with what happened, or do you see it differently? Let us know your opinion in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our upcoming stories. See you in the next one.